to the Gregarious Mammal podcast. This is Chris, just introducing you to a handful of interviews that Cate and I did at this year's IFA here in Berlin. The first up is a small conversation grabbed at Showstoppers, so a little noisy in the background, with a company called eBlocker about their IoT security solutions. Then you have me speaking with Snips. Snips are a French company who make hardware and software for manufacturers to be able to integrate voice control into their devices. And then finally, I speak with Conrad Connect. Who Conrad are and what their Connect project is will become apparent in the interview. But I will also be writing an article soon that covers that in a lot more detail. So until next time, enjoy.
Yeah, no, I'm interested. So this is cybersecurity for IoT smart homes?
For all devices connected to the home. So it's also for PCs, Macs, phones, but also for baby monitors, routers, everything that's connected.
So how do you differ to what's on the market? I mean, I've reviewed a few, and I'm thinking of maybe Jojo by Bullguard is one of the main ones. What's your kind of point of difference?
Well, basically, we were the first ones to launch such a solution on the market. This is the second version we have right here. It's much more powerful. It has a lot more technology. Yeah, probably a good idea. So basically, we have experience with security a lot more than, as you said, competitors like Dojo, for example. There aren't a lot of solutions comparable to Box. That is definitely the case. The technology we have in the Box is able to detect exploits in real time, anomalies in the traffic that happens in the home network. Aside from that, which is basically the differentiator compared to other solutions, in the same subscription we have included total security for, let's say, traditional devices. So there's an unlimited number of total security subscription in the same subscription. If we were to compare with Norton Core or other solutions.
Okay. So it can detect vulnerabilities or indeed a virus or something or an attack, and can it repair it as well? Like, is it two-tier?
Well, if we're talking about vulnerabilities, the vulnerabilities is usually a problem in the software on a different device. So no one could actually fix the vulnerability aside from an update from the vendor.
Yes.
But what we want to accomplish is basically make that vulnerability useless for an attacker. If we are able to detect the exploit of the vulnerability while it happens, it doesn't really matter that the device is still vulnerable, because we cannot update the firmware of a device ourselves. So we're just trying to block its exploitation. Yeah.
And I mean, are you sending this data back to the companies and saying, look, you've got these crappy products that are just insecure?
No, but we basically recommend users that they would contact their providers and say, hey, fix this security problem for me. Yeah, I bought this from you, so you need to fix it.
Yeah, so it's really up to the consumer, isn't it, at the moment?
Yes.
To be responsible for their own home and indeed any products they take to work. Like, I also write about industrial IoT, like factories and manufacturing, where people will bring something from the home to work and it will infect the whole factory.
I think there the risk is even bigger because we're talking about large scale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you could be talking about targeted attacks. In the home environment, it's less likely that you'll have a targeted attack unless you're a very prominent person. But when we're talking about enterprises, manufacturing, pharma, stuff like that.
When it comes to the devices on a network with a very large attack vector like Windows and Android, do you detect all potential vulnerabilities in those, or do you have like a third party that handles that because they're potentially very large.
No, we don't have a third party, but for Windows in particular, we have a lot of experience. So we know all the avenues of the attacks, and we don't rely solely on monitoring the traffic in the network. We install a specific security solution in place which has layers of protection in place. For example, you know about Eternal Blue and its export. Yeah, about WannaCry. Exactly. So basically what we are doing is look at the attempts to exploit vulnerabilities in the system, not just stuff that's happening on the network, and block them automatically. We have a technology which is called network threat prevention that does that for us.
It's almost like an umbrella at the home so that you can't get past, or I don't know what the right term is, but I'm just picturing this, shield.
It's like an onion.
I have this in my head, and it's never the right image, but it's like I can see it, and like, because I don't know, I just every day I read about another smart home vulnerability. It's like you cannot write about IoT without writing about this stuff because they're so ridiculous. Almost every product is vulnerable.
A lot of them. It's not like a specific vendor that keeps. For PCs, for example, you have Windows devices, you have Mac devices, and that's pretty much it. But for IoTs, the possibilities are endless.
When you're here at the conference, are you introducing a new? Sorry, Chris. Are you introducing a new product? What's bringing you here to the conference today?
Well, we want to talk about Bitdefender Box mainly. We have a whole portfolio of security products, but basically Box is the most comprehensive one. It's got everything you could possibly need from a security solution in the home ecosystem.
So it's integrated with a subscription service?
Yeah, it has a subscription. So basically the price for the first year, which includes the hardware and the subscription, and unlimited total security for PCs and Macs and stuff like that, it's 249 euros. And for future years, it's 99.
It's not much when you think about what it could do to your home, If ruin all your products and then it could be your life in some instances,
Yeah, and most people have a lot of devices in their home. We're talking about more than 10 or even 15. Yeah.
We have a lot at home as well. We get a lot of test devices, from the ridiculous like pet stuff to, we're reviewing a camera at the moment. We're testing when the cat feeds because we have to use it for something.
Yeah, but it's useful.
So it's not made for that. That's what
it's really? It's amusing. you get a little video when the cat's eating.
Nice. Sounds good.
But it's just like, but you could imagine someone using it as a conduit for another attack.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they maybe not now. Like this year has not been so bad. We've had lots of vulnerabilities, but we've not had the big attacks of last year or the year before. We've not had WannaCry. We've not had that kind of stuff. But, you could imagine getting more of those bigger attacks where our devices are used as a conduit for another attack, whether it's a ransomware or something like that,
Let's leave you to get back to the booth.
Yeah.
So we are Snips. We are a voice technology for connected devices. We are a software company, B2B software. So we work with different equipment manufacturers. You can see, for example, a coffee machine here. It could be another piece of home appliances. It could be a smart building equipment, connected vehicles, etc. Anything you can imagine. So what we do, we add voice software, voice interface to any device.
And is this using your own proprietary or non-proprietary voice recognition software, or using a third party and then adding on top of it? Or
we use our own voice recognition. So the main difference of Snips from the existing big solutions, similar solutions, is that we do not use cloud and internet connection in order to process voice. voice. Basically, everything happens on device you are talking to.
And is this here? Is this
well, this is a demo. So for demo purposes, it's a Raspberry Pi.
Is
yeah.
this?
Basically, this is where our software runs. Okay. So for demo purposes, we kind of took it.
Could run on any.
It can run. It can run on anything from Raspberry Pi to we have just partnered with NXP Semiconductors. So we have tested our technology runs on their.
It runs on chip.
On chips, on chip, on boards. Yeah, you have to. We do software, but there is a number of hardware providers where our technology works perfectly well.
So it runs offline.
Yeah.
How? Because one of the big kind of selling points of the major 2.5 voice assistants is that if there's an update, it just gets updated because the device itself isn't actually doing that much. It's just collecting the sound and things like that.
This is, I guess, we have chosen a slightly different approach.
I get it. My question was how the problem with a lot of internet-connected devices that are running on the device is if there's a flaw or a security problem or something like that, you rely on someone to update it. So how could you update the dictionary and the languages and things like that?
There are multiple things here. First of all, we need to. So we do not do generic voice assistants. This is first of all. You will not be able to. Well, you can always ask, but I guarantee that our voice assistant will not respond to questions like when did the war with Napoleon started. So it's not possible. What we do really use case focused.
Yeah.
Use case focused voice assistants. Yeah. For example, you can see this coffee machine case. It could be washing machine. It could be toaster. It could be like TV, etc., etc.
So you're doing it yourself. You're an agency-ish. It's not. I can't do it myself.
No.
Okay.
Well, yes and no.
Okay. All right.
Just we will come back to that. So no, we are not an agency. It's our proprietary technology, but we believe that this use case focused voice assistants. First of all, we have done some benchmarks. They are more performant than generic ones, and this is actually solves the problem of there is no real need to update them because how it happens. So, for example, you are. Let's continue with coffee machine. You are a coffee machine producer. Yeah. You come and you say, okay, I need voice on my coffee machines. No problem. So we define the commands you want for this coffee machine. It could be like something basic. It could be adding sugar. Could be different types of coffee, milk, cappuccino, whatever. So we define all this. Then we invite linguists, computational linguists to work. So what they do, we have come up with a special algorithm which is patented by us, which is called data generation. So in the case of coffee machine, the algorithm will generate thousands, millions of ways of how can a human being ask for a coffee. And we use this mass of data to actually train our voice assistant all about coffee before we ship it to you as a coffee machine producer. So this is how it works.
Better so, I suppose, if the machine has a problem that may or may not relate to that, then the whole machine has to be updated anyway. And that again comes to the issue of connected devices. There's lots that are not updated. That's not really.
What's the advantage is that advantage is really I don't like this word, but what the thing you should understand that for voice processing, you can be sure that no voice data goes out. Of course, if there is any update, if you add some functionalities to your coffee machine, so it's going to be a completely different product, right? It's going to be a new generation coffee machine. Then we need to do our job once again. But if there is maintenance, coffee machine maintenance, and it could be done through the internet, there is no problem with it. You as a coffee machine manufacturer will take care of this. The thing is, no voice data will be sent.
What if the company who you're providing the software and the chip for want to do something with the data in the cloud?
do you say no, or
What do you mean? Sorry.
well, you personally as a company are not interested? But what if the manufacturer you're working with is they want to process the data somewhere?
Well, this thing doesn't stock data.
No, yours doesn't.
Yeah.
But the device itself. So this company, I won't name them, but wants to connect to their own service and do things with it.
Well, in order to make this thing work, they do not need to.
They don't need
Again,
to.
what if they want to? Well, I cannot tell what they want or may not do. But they own this data. It's up to them to decide. But you just no internet and cloud needed to make this work.
What's the kind of maximum vocabulary that it can have?
It depends on the use case. It can process anything from basic voice commands like make me coffee, turn on the lights, to natural language requests. For example, could you book me an Italian for tomorrow? This is something really you do not mention the word restaurant, but you actually mean it, and our algorithm is capable of understanding this as well.
Okay. So it's okay. So you don't necessarily have word lists and lexicon stored.
You have the one thing you have to do is you have to trigger the machine. So, for example, I can show it how it works with coffee.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like
basically, and tell, hey Snips, make me a coffee, please. This is how it works.
Could you specify the type of coffee?
Yeah, you could, but just for this is the kind of
machine.
simple one
Machine.
for demo purposes. But of course, if you had like a cappuccino possibility and stuff, there is no problem with that.
Okay. And what other? The ones you could talk about, what other companies or use cases have you been working with?
So we have around 30 big names in the pipe under NDA.
You can talk about industry.
Industries, yes. So we have, this is a great question. We see a lot of demand, a lot of interest from obviously smart home, appliances, smart building, entertainment, commerce, like retail, commerce. What else? Services like call centers, and even Industry 4.0.
The call center one is interesting. There's a voice interface meetup here in Berlin, and at one of them I met someone said, I've been working with voice interfaces for 20 years. And most people thought, what do you mean? They've only existed but call centers have been doing it for a long time. And also you could have, actually in terms of because you're kind of going on this privacy and security focus, can you fingerprint the voice so it can only be triggered by certain people?
It can be, no, you need to just pronounce this wake word and it could be different. It could be
anybody.
It could be anybody, and you are not, we do white label.
Okay.
So we do not
You don't train it to only respond to particular voices.
So it could be, I mentioned hey Snips, but it could be...
It couldn't be high security. It could be a door lock or something because anyone could open it.
What do you mean anyone could open?
So for example, with some of the general assistants, it's trained to certain voices and will only respond to certain voices. Do you offer anything like that? Like only I can trigger that coffee machine?
Yes.
Okay, you could do that. Okay. So then you could have more security-focused use cases, especially like alarm systems and things like that in a home. I don't want anybody just to be able to, I don't know, I can imagine hacks, someone ringing me on the phone, unlocking my door. I'm sure this is happening.
I don't know.
Okay. And so at the moment we're seeing these demo devices are obviously connected to Raspberry Pis and fairly large, but kind of what's the actual realistic size they end up being?
I will show you one thing. This is what I mentioned to you, NXP board, so it can be something like this.
Okay.
So you have these are the microphones. This is the speaker. And basically, the software runs here on this black thing.
And you made this, or this is
No,
off the
it's
shelf?
NXP. It's NXP board. So it's yeah.
So still, in the grand scheme of things, fairly large.
Yeah, it just. I mean, these guys have like a huge amount of different things. It just depends on it depends on the compatibility of this particular board with your use case, with the computing power, etc., etc.
If you don't mind me asking, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine. But how do you actually? What's your process when you work with a client? Do you have a system you've already created that you just feed in kind of the keywords and things, or do you write scripts, you train a model? Like, how do you actually work with?
Yeah, so first of all, we start with defining the use case.
Okay.
So basically, with the client, we put down every single comment your client may want from this piece of equipment. Let's say there is a coffee machine, so there is espresso, I don't know, macchiato. You want to add sugar, you want to add milk, a different level of coffee, etc. So this is like the first important process. Then we start doing data generation, the thing that I mentioned, our technology. So we basically start to train the voice assistants.
Did you test on something like this?
There is also like the whole hardware part because coffee machine producers, for example, they need to figure out how they can. Yeah. So we do not do this. We do not produce. We do not sell this. But we work. We kind of connect our equipment producers with these guys. So they in turn choose what's optimal for this case. Yeah. And we do a lot of testing. Yeah.
I guess I should ask, because the company is French.
Yes.
You're not, though, I think.
Sorry?
You're French? No.
I'm Russian-French. I'm Russian by origin, but I live in France since...
Quite sound French, but
yeah.
So what languages is used?
So we do English, French, obviously, German, and Japanese.
Okay.
And we will have Spanish and Italian by the end of the year. This is the plan. And next year we will do some other languages. Maybe I have like Korean in the plan.
Why Japanese?
It's actually a very good question. It's a very big market.
Oh yeah.
It's a super big market. It's the technology penetration of there is huge. I mean, people are ready for that. Data privacy is actually becoming more and more important thing in Japan.
Actually, yeah, Japan has some things that you don't expect when you look into this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And what we discovered, so basically they, I think it was last December, they adopted some regulation that is quite similar to GDPR.
Yeah, and they're also not into, still quite into cash and things like that, which surprised me when I read that.
No, but yeah, basically there are a lot of manufacturing. There is a lot of manufacturing in Japan as well. So we are interested in big industrial players or small in the medium-sized industrial players. So for these reasons, Japan is...
So controversially, is China not a big market because the Chinese manufacturers want stuff to go to a cloud?
To be honest, we have not... I think we are only starting to look into China.
It's complicated.
So I cannot tell you more than that.
It's a dangerous market as well because people can very easily copy what you do.
Yeah, we need to do more research. We need to figure out how they work, etc. So yeah.
And how old is the company?
So we were founded in 2013, and initially it was more of a research lab, doing different stuff in AI, and the R&D for this particular product was started in 2015, and we launched this technology last summer, basically.
Is there anything behind the name?
Not quite. It's just
a French name, right?
I think it means like small parts in English. No, snips.
Yeah, sort of.
Or the verb snip is
can mean a couple
cut.
of different things.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a generic word, but it's memorable. But it's memorable but no one's going to necessarily know. You're one of those companies that no one's going to necessarily know that they're using your work. So is there anything like this on the market for consumers?
Yes. So there is one French company that we just recently started to work with. It's a home companion robot. Basically, things like this. It's called Kicker. They already sell their products in France, in the US. I think they are planning in Germany as well. So this is like the thing I can mention publicly. We have around 30 other names in the pipe and NDA. Yeah. Okay. So I hope we will be able to get some announcements.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
And what's the plan for the next 6 months?
So the reason we are at IFA, so we will try to look more into German market as well, because of the presence of big industrial players here.
Privacy obsession.
Privacy, yeah. So this thing, then we will actually the reason why we launched Japanese language is we will be also more present in Japan. So we have a plans to open an office or just a representative hub. We were selected, by the way, by Japanese Plug and Play program this summer, and this autumn we are supposed to deliver a demo with a big industrial partner. So I do not know. I have no updates on this, but I'm really curious to find out more about this and actually communicate about this more. So we'll see. For Germany, we are also participating at Electronica in Munich later this year. So yeah.
And just one general question to wrap up. France, as far as I'm concerned, when I go to lots of events, is doing a fairly good job in startup world. La French Tech.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, La French Tech is
usually the biggest kind of country presence. That's clear and obvious. What's it like actually running a company in France?
It's actually so La French Tech is a really good initiative, right? And we are here as part of this La French Tech. So it was an initiative that was launched by former digital minister Fleur Pellerin, working really well. They help French startups promote themselves on the international level. We are very happy. So for France, it's actually we see a lot things changing in terms of companies' interest to have your R&D in France, etc. We have a couple of engineers and employees that have been moving from the US back to Paris to work, actually. There is a lot of things going on in France, and we are quite happy that actually the government now is doing these efforts. There is a lot more to do. Obviously, for example, we are looking into the legislation that will actually it's on the French government's agenda. I think for the end of this year, they would like to kind of simplify and
I think
organize.
France is as bad as Germany when it comes to
organize a better process of companies like this working with big industrial groups. So we're really happy about this initiative, and it's moving, and we feel quite confident about it. Cool.
I'm Andreas, and I'm heading the team of Conrad Connect. So I developed this idea 2.5 years back within the Conrad group. Conrad is a big omni-channel retailer.
Yeah, I guess so. For 81 International, Conrad, I guess, is like Radio Shack in America, Maplin in the UK.
Exactly.
Those kind of places. But bigger, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if it's bigger, but it's similar in a way that we are. Conrad is also selling TVs and this kind of things, but Conrad is the source for techies, so it's more about components, soldering stations, measuring industry. So, for example, Fluke is a big partner, a big brand that we are selling, and so Conrad is selling. And we developed this idea Actually, for two reasons. There was a demand and an opportunity reason, right? The demand reason was that we recognized that more and more IoT products requires more and more apps on your phone, and it's pretty easy to recognize that will not work in the future, right? And having different apps also means that the systems from different suppliers are not interoperable, so they don't work, they don't talk to each other. Put it this way. So we said there is a need for a solution that combines different devices to each other and to give a chance to visualize and to automate these things. But there's also an opportunity side, of course, right? The opportunity side is that IoT is a fast-growing market. So today we have less than 10 billion IoT devices, and in only 2 years' time it will be fivefold. So we will have 50 billion or even more, according to Gartner research, right? And we think smart living is more than just having a product that is controlled by an app. Yeah? Smart living means that today we're selling alarm systems, tomorrow we are selling security. Yeah. And security consists of a hardware and a service. Yeah? The service might be installation, that might be, kind of alarm service, that might be insurance and so on. And to be able to offer something like this, we need something like a platform. Conrad Connect is.
Yeah. So actually, just because I think I have a lot of questions around the vision, but just to go back a step. So as far as I know, Conrad is only in Germany, or also in some other countries, or
no? I mean, Conrad as a name, as the omnichannel retailer is doing business in the main market is Europe. So we are in 16 European countries with all subsidiaries, but delivering in the whole world. So, but it's Europe
because the platform is very much going for global. Well, it's in 2 languages at the moment, maybe more in the future. But
will be more in the future. The reason why we only provide 2 languages at the moment is that we are innovate, we are developed so fast, and we are working as a startup. We are a startup, so we are simply not able to handle 9 languages.
And so the interesting thing I saw with the intended business model, which you don't seem to be enforcing very strongly right now, because I guess you're at startup phase, is you get a limited amount of projects, and we'll come to what they are in a minute. And if you want to go above a certain number, you pay a subscription, etc.
Yeah, I mean, this is a typical freemium model, right? So we want to keep the hurdle very low to motivate people to use our platform. We all need to keep in mind, for you and for me, IoT and smart home might sound familiar, and we know what we are talking about. But most people, for them, it's a totally new area. So we need to help people to discover this kind of world. So and therefore, yes, it's a freemium model, and there's a good chance to use it and to be happy with the free version. And if you need more dashboards, more rules, you pay for it.
But of course, the more genius I think for you is, of course, if someone needs a new device, they can buy it straight from you. So
it's true. I mean, the affiliate, as we call it, is also part of our business model. But this is not 100% related to Conrad. Yeah, Conrad Connect is born from Conrad, and it's at the moment it's supported and it's invested by Conrad, but it's a solution that is open for everyone. So here on the IFA we show our new marketplace, and you have seen that we implemented a service that is called Order This from the Otto Group. Yeah. Okay. And means another retailer, and the idea of Order This is to be able to process machine-generated order. Yeah, so let's say the washing machine is ordering washing powder, the coffee machine is coffee powder, and also the smoke detector might ask for batteries, and these batteries can be ordered via Conrad, but also via other retailers.
Yeah. So I guess, skeptically speaking, you're doing a very European counter to things like the A company as well, the Amazon company. with their devices as well, but a kind of European alternative, maybe a little bit more.
Again, it's very hard to compare Conrad Connect at this stage with someone else. I mean, if you talk about access to aggregated IoT data, yes, then we are comparable with Amazon Echo, with Google Home,
also
and so on.
IFT and services.
Exactly.
Like that,
yes.
Yeah.
So from this point of view, but other than this, it's more about to establish a platform that is able to really help people to move into the smart living area and to be able to build strong services based on aggregated data. So let's put it this way. I mean, having a device that is controlled by an app is not really smart.
No. And actually, we'll come to that in a minute.
Okay, good. Okay, fine. Okay.
With the ordering aspect, though, when will that be released to the platform?
I mean, we everything that we are showing here will be released latest by the end of the year. Some of the services are already released. Some of them will be released in the next 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. So, but everything here is coming soon.
Okay. Because one thing, actually, so my wife also covers IoT, and we're reviewing the platform together, actually. The one thing she always mentions, especially at IFA and Mobile World Congress and all these sorts of shows where we've got a fridge that orders this and a bin that orders that, and her question is always, what if they all order the same thing? Which is interesting when you have a central place, then at least you can centralize that data coming in to not order 3 cartons of milk. Or
No, absolutely. I mean, I fully agree with you. I mean, to organize these things, to optimize things, again, such kind of platform is a very good opportunity for them. I'm not sure if it will come this way. I mean, another example has been brought up by a customer yesterday. He said, well, when we discussed about order this service, and he said, okay, so it's also a platform. It's not related to one retailer, but many retailers. So what about if my coffee can be delivered by 3 different companies? Will I be able to say, well, I want to get the coffee from the company that can deliver fast and with the cheapest price and so on? Well, I said, that's a good idea, actually, but don't ask me.
You can
ask the service provider.
Or you can define it yourself in the... Yeah,
exactly.
Let's get it. So actually, one thing you said about the apps is very true. So with some of the items that we were sent to review, the apps vary in quality, shall we say. And you're right. Now I have a phone full of applications that do one thing, especially, for example, the smart plugs, where it's an app just to turn it on off, which seems overkill. And what Conrad Connect is doing, you create these projects that let you connect inputs to outputs, and that doesn't just mean the hardware, it also means the ones I found quite useful are things like Google Sheets, Slack, email, SMS,
weather services,
all sorts of other things like that. So external and internal, input and output, other sources of information as well as the hardware. And also, interestingly, with a company like Fresh Energy, which is Germanly only, and quite new, but is kind of smart meter service, which exists in some other countries, but it's kind of the first one here.
It's a benchmarking service.
So you can get a lot of inputs and outputs, and then you have a drag and drop interface that you can drop the various inputs and outputs and connect them. And
I'm really impressed by your knowledge of our platform.
Play with it. Depending on the device and the service, you get different inputs and outputs. And this was actually one thing I found interesting. For example, I think my favorite device so far has been the Wiz lamps.
Okay. They're very good partners.
And they have a booth here too.
Yes.
But the data that comes in and out is only on and off at the moment. And this was kind of one of my questions, which has always been an issue sometimes when it comes to these kind of aggregation platforms, is you can only work with what you can only work with.
Exactly.
And how much extra work do you have to put in on negotiation work to try and open up more?
So we are a startup, and we are crowd-based. We are, how can I say, we are fans of crowd play API-based technologies that can be scaled up very fast and that are somehow, aligned to the share economy. So what does it mean? It means that we are not spending any kind of effort at the moment to go back to the hardware suppliers and tell them, okay, you need to change your API according to this and that. Yeah? Or we are not controlling the quality of the published projects. So we believe that this will come naturally. So the quality of the projects will controlled by the community. They will tell you, it's a good project, it's a bad project. And when it comes to the API and the functions, so we think that when we move on, the hardware suppliers, they will more and more learn how to better integrate, how to deliver a better service for the customers. So only a few weeks back, we opened a community, which is a forum, where now it's the first time that people can talk to each other on public.
Yeah, so, and you can actually publish your own projects as well.
You can publish your project, you can share your project and so on. So it means that we are somehow we are providing the tools, and to make customers and users of our platform to give them the chance to build solutions. And on the other side, for the business partners, we want them to provide the opportunity to make businesses. And all the rest will be handled by, how could I say, by the further development.
And
what is coming back to your question with So now that we know, for example, I know that you complain about, well, it's limited. So that would happen in the future. That would happen on our forum in the community. It would be discussed. We have a community manager that will answer to this, and they will contact with and say, well, we have some customers, they are wishing this and this. Are you happy with this? Do you want to provide this and so on? If they say yes and they say a reason, they will do it. Otherwise, we will probably need to tell you, well, it's not possible with Swiss, but with another brand.
And as far as I know, at the moment, you don't have a specific mobile app, do you?
No, we don't have a native app. We have a web app, we don't have a native app.
Okay.
Whenever someone is asking for a native app, I'm asking back, what do you want to do?
I know, I like native apps, but I understand that.
You know that we are sharing the opportunity of Google. They're saying that the native apps, like we know them today, will not survive.
I know.
But also, let me tell you, if our customers ask for native apps, we see there is a need for a native app, we will provide a native app. It's not a problem at all. But we think the native app, or whatever kind of app on the mobile, it's only good for visualizing, seeing data, showing data, and analytics maybe, and for doing manual control. So it means that the lamp is red, and for whatever reason you want to have it green, then you can use the app, but you can use Amazon, you can use a gesture, you can use a switch. So it will change. The usage of the app in terms of IoT will change over the next couple of months and years.
And actually, one of the interesting things, you have an integration with IFT, which in some respects is a partial competitor, but also a lot of companies do it because they have so many integrations that, it's almost like, well, if nothing else works, you can use that. But do you consider them a competitor, or they don't really visualize things?
We don't think in terms of competition. No, honestly.
Pragmatic.
No, honestly. If you want, I can tell you a lot of differences between IFTTT and us. Yeah. So the main difference is that we are doing automation on a different level, but we are storing the data because we want to offer services. This is the main aim of Conrad Connect is for the future, not only to connect different hardware devices, but to connect them to services. So therefore, for us, we saw there is a chance to use the Maker channel, and some customers asked for it, and we did it.
And I mean, actually, something you just said there is generally a very, especially non-German way to do things about storing data.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you're storing it in Europe.
Yes,
or,
of course.
Yeah.
We're storing it in euro and in Europe, and it's according to GDPR, of course. And there's nothing negative. We're storing your customer data in your account. Full stop. So whenever we want to use your personal data, for example, you book a service that requires that we give your part of your personal data or the insights or whatever to a third party, you need to agree on that. So it's not us. So you need to say, well, yes, I want to book this service, and yes, I'm happy that Otto or Signal Cruncher will use my data. Otherwise, it's totally yours. We are not using it. There's no advertisement, nothing.
So what's the sort of user sign-up rate been like so far? Has it been above expectations, to expectations?
Well,
as much as you want to answer.
It's not easy to answer. At the beginning, it was far above expectations. So we at the moment we have around 170,000 users, and we are getting 300 to 500 users per day, new users per day. This is not bad. I think the growth rate is above most of the other IoT platforms. But we have high goals now.
Yeah. Fair enough. And I guess. So, just to fill in the gaps a bit, so you integrate already with a fair amount of well-known devices. The two main voice assistant platforms, a lot of the fitness trackers, a lot of the well-known security systems, etc., etc. What are the gaps you would like to fill in the next 6 months in terms of hardware or service integration?
There are some relevant hardware providers that we haven't integrated so far. We are in discussion with most of them, but yes, it would be. From a customer point of view, it would be great to get Samsung on board.
They have their own,
and Bosch and so on. These companies, they always claim whenever they're on stage, we are an open system.
Well, I first met you at the Bosch IoT World, so really.
Yeah, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Yeah. So, but I think we are on a good way. So 2 years back, we need to convince the hardware manufacturers about our idea. Now we have a long list of hardware that needs to be integrated, and we just have limited development resources. But our main focus for the next 12 months will definitely on the services, on the service side.
And that was 3 interviews from this year's IFA in Berlin. Firstly with eBlocker, secondly with Snips, and finally with Conrad Connect. If you've enjoyed the show, you can find previous episodes at gregariousmammal.com/podcast or anywhere else you find your podcasts. Please rate us. And if you really love us, then please go to gregariousmammal.com/support to buy merchandise or donate to the show. I have been Chris Chinchilla at Chris Chinch on Twitter. And until next time, thank you for listening.